What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who ranking video. Today I'm going to be ranking every episode 3. So this is from series 1 to 12 as it usually is. And yeah, every episode 3. So yeah, pretty much this is my own opinion as it always is. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below, but this is my opinion, so please respect it and I will also respect yours. Anyway, let's get started. Number 12. Orphan 55 from Series 12. Now this is the newest episode for the newest episode 3 for the newest series, and yeah, it's a big disappointment. Orphan 55 is by far the worst episode of Series 12 in my opinion. It's an episode that really just has a bunch of characters that are forgettable and just really annoying. The companions don't really do anything. Generally the Doctor's just a bit silly in this one. The main reason though is that, this story itself isn't too bad, but the fact that they absolutely shove it in your face at the very end, this is all about global warming and that everybody in the world should be looking after the planet so much better than they currently are, it feels like a slap in the face. And I mean, political correctness is one of these things in Doctor Who that I think, yes, it's been there since, Doctor Who started, but it's fairly subtle, whereas this one, it rams it down your throat by the end of it, especially right at the end with that massive speech. Yeah, it's just a bit too far in my opinion. Number 11. Robot of Sherwood from Series 8. Now this is one that I think some people will probably be disagreeing on me with, but Robot of Sherwood's an episode that I don't really like because I think it does the silliness a bit too much. This is one of the sillier episodes, probably the silliest episode of Series 8, a series that generally is a bit more serious, especially for the 12th Doctor, but yeah, for this one I felt like Peter Capaldi and whoever was playing Robin Hood, they were a bit too silly in this one. The constant bantering was funny at first, but went a bit too far and just kind of became really annoying by the end. Also, you've got the whole thing with, gold destroying these people, which is a thing, the robots and that, which is a thing that's taken from the Cybermen back in the classic era, mainly. And yeah, I don't know, the robots and, the kind of the leader of those, I just found very boring and plain, and generally I just don't really enjoy this one. Number 10. Victory of the Daleks from Series 5. This is definitely the biggest flop for Series 5 in my opinion, and probably the weakest Dalek story of the new series. Victory of the Daleks just does so many things wrong that it could have done right. The whole setup of having Daleks in kind of was this World War One? World War Two? I honestly can't remember. Whichever war this was. It's a really cool concept and I love the Ironside Daleks. I think they're really cool, and the episode is generally quite enjoyable up until the point where the Paradigm Daleks come in. It's literally the multicolored skittle Daleks. They look ridiculous. They honestly just don't do anything. They're kind of there. They threaten the Doctor a little bit, the Doctor threatens them, and then they basically just piss off. They don't do anything at all. And then you've got the whole thing of the robot, that robot dude, the cyborg, and his whole thing of kind of overcoming his robot explosion by love. Yeah, it's just a bit cliche and a bit silly, and I just think the Daleks mainly in this one are a complete waste. Number 9. The Curse of the Black Spot from Series 6. Now here's an episode that I actually think is better than most people say. I still only regard it as an average episode, but I don't quite understand why people say this one is so bad. I really don't think it is. It's just an average kind of filler episode in my opinion, and for Series 6, a series that I'm not massively big on anyway, I think it's a perfectly just okay episode. You've got, pirates, which is cool, awesome seeing pirates in Doctor Who. You've got the Siren, who I think is actually quite an interesting villain. Not necessarily a villain in the end from what it turns out to be. She's just trying to help people out but doesn't quite understand how the humans work. This alien spaceship thing, I think it's a bit weird and a bit silly how the pirates end up, going off and using this spaceship. It seems a bit far-fetched in my opinion, but other than that I have some fun moments. The guy, I can't remember his name now, playing, is it Henry, the main pirate? He's really good. And yeah, generally I think there's some good moments here, with Rory dying as well, some good emotional moments, and generally just a decent episode. Number 8. Rosa from Series 11. Here's another one that I perhaps don't see quite as highly as some other people. Rosa for me is just okay. It's just kind of average sort of story. In Series 11 it's a pretty decent one I suppose, but when comparing it to other things I just don't think it quite gets there. I think the actress playing Rosa Parks is really good. She portrays her really well. I mean, I don't really know Rosa Parks very well as a character in general, as a fictional, person, But I think, from what I've heard about her, she's played very well here. Generally, the actress just plays a good character here in general. Krasko's a big disappointment in this one. I think he's a completely wasted villain who could have done so much more and was just there just to, hey, we need a villain of some kind, let's throw this guy in here. The way that Ryan just kills him, I think's a bit much. The fact that there's no consequences that come from that, I think's stupid. Generally, though, I think this is one of the better Series 11 episodes, but to be honest, it's not saying a whole lot. Number 7. The Unquiet Dead from Series 1. Here is Mark Gatiss' first script for Doctor Who, and honestly probably his best one, or at least up there with like his top 3. Definitely one of his better scripts. I think The Unquiet Dead's actually a pretty underrated story. Once again, I only regard it as like a 7.5 out of 10 maybe, so just kind of around the average sort of area, maybe slightly above. But I do quite like it. I think the what are they called? I've totally forgotten what they're called. The gas monsters, I've totally forgot. The Gelth, that's what they're called. I knew they began with G. The Gelth are a really interesting villain, kind of having these gas monsters, I think's cool. And yeah, generally, Charles Dickens, really good political figure in this one. I think he's acted very well. You've got a lot of great stuff with the Ninth Doctor and Rose here as well, kind of getting to know each other and having that relationship a lot more. They're really connecting with each other here, and generally, yeah, it's the first historical of the new series, well, somewhat historical of the new series, and it's a pretty good one. Number 6. Planet of the Ood from Series 4. This is the Ood's second proper outing, I suppose, and really their second and only their final outing as like a proper villain for a story. I think this is a pretty good episode. It's nothing to write home about in my opinion. Quite a lot taken off of Rose, I find. Kind of having the massive brain is very, very reminiscent of the kind of the Nestine consciousness in Rose, but generally I think this one's interesting. I love how the Ood are actually, the guy thinks that he's getting given hair tonic, but he's actually being turned into an Ood, and that whole transformation of him being transformed into an Ood is terrifying and sickly. I mean, it is really quite disturbing for Doctor Who, especially at that time. And yeah, I mean, as much as I don't think this is as good as their first story in Series 2, Planet of the Ood is definitely still an enjoyable one. Number 5. Thin Ice from Series 10. Here's a story that really isn't talked about that much. I think Thin Ice is actually a really enjoyable story for Series 10. It's kind of a filler episode, but I feel like it's just a little bit better than that. Probably give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe even an 8.5. I just really enjoy it. The kind of different costumes that the Doctor and Bill are wearing are really interesting. I like how in this one, Bill does find a little bit of racism in this world, because obviously this is London way back when, and yeah, there's a bit of racism here and there. Now I think later on in the series they go a little bit overboard with the whole racism thing, racism and her sexual kind of orientation, I suppose, as well. But I think it's done well here. It's at the start of the series, it works well. Generally, I think the fish monster it's fine here, because you've also got the bad guy as well. And yeah, generally I just find this a quite enjoyable one for the Doctor and Bill. Number 4. Gridlock from Series 3. Now here's a story that you really don't think would work. It's basically the Doctor and Martha stuck in separate kind of cars for a whole 45 minutes. Really not a whole lot of scenery change, a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, but other than that they're literally just inside these identical carriages. But the variety in these carriages, I mean, they're identical in kind of shape and form, but they've all got different things inside them. When the Doctor's like jumping from carriage to carriage, such an exhilarating and fun to watch scene. Just really awesome when he finds all the different people in the carriages, the things they're wearing, how they look, different aliens and all that sort of thing. It's really interesting. You've got Brannigan, who's an awesome little side character there as well, and generally just the side characters, mainly with Martha and the two people that she's with, really interesting side characters. The Macra are a bit of a letdown, but honestly this one still works really well. Number 3. A Town Called Mercy from Series 7. This is one of the standard episodes of Series 7 for me, and once again, a lot like a lot of the episodes in this episode 3 slot, quite underrated in my opinion. I really think this is a very underrated episode. It doesn't get talked about enough. The Doctor in this episode I think is really good. Matt Smith plays the Doctor really well. He has some pretty damn dark moments here. Like, when he's literally about to execute the guy, I can't remember his name now, well, the Doctor, I suppose, he is a doctor, of forms, but you know, when he's about to execute him, and he's literally got the gun to his head, and he's like, I really don't know if I'm gonna do this. I actually don't know how I feel about this situation. It's just such a different side of the Doctor that we don't get to see very often, especially with Matt Smith's Doctor. He plays it perfectly, and generally that performance alone just really makes me enjoy this episode so much more. Number 2, Under the Lake from Series 9. This is the first part to the Under the Lake and Before the Flood two-parter. My favourite two-parter of I was about to say of the Capaldi era, but maybe not. I think World Enough in Time, Dr. Forge probably beats that. But yeah, this is a great two-parter. Under the Lake, Before the Flood. I think Under the Lake, this first part is the better part of the two. Just kind of meshing things together a lot nicer. I really love the bass understage feel of it. It feels very much like a classic, like, you know, Patrick Troughton story, which is awesome now that I've seen a lot more of his stories. Generally, it's just a really enjoyable thing. I really like the ghosts. It's a little bit of a twist on them, and I think they're done really well. They're really creepy with what they do, how they can just walk through a wall with like an axe in their hand. They walk through the wall, they go through the wall, but the axe doesn't. It's really creepy. And you know how they're like mumbling things, but you can't hear what they're saying. Their mouths are just moving. And then that cliffhanger with the Doctor as a ghost is ridiculous. It's crazy. It gets me begging for more. It's just a generally really good start to a great two-parter. Number 1, School Reunion from Series 2. This episode is amazing. It's just really good for a couple of different reasons. First of all, the return of Sarah Jane Smith. Such a big character return and awesome to see, and she works as well alongside David Tennant as she does alongside Tom Baker. She's just so good in the role. She just jumps back into the role straight away, and she's amazing. I love the banter between Rose and Sarah as well, and then they finally do become friends towards the end. I really like their chemistry. Mickey in here is also very funny. I love his moment with the Doctor where he's like, you know, Mrs. and the X is a man's worst nightmare. It was so funny, and him screaming at the rats. You know, K9's back as well. Awesome to see K9 back. He's great in this as well. The Krillitane in this, I think, are a decent villain, made really, really good by Anthony Head, the main one. He's very, very good here. The rest of them are just kind of okay, but yeah, this is one that I think you can just put on, have fun with, and just really enjoy. Alright, so there we have it. That is my ranking of every episode 3 from Doctor Who Series 1 to 12 of the new series. How would you guys rank these 12 episodes? Please tell me in the comments below. Remember, once again, this is completely my opinion. I get so many people kind of going off in the comments like, this is not how I don't agree with this spot and this. And yeah, sure, I don't mind if you disagree, but you can't just be such a dick about it. I get it so often. To be honest, the last 2 videos haven't been as bad, but yeah, remember, respect each other's opinions. I'll respect yours if you respect mine, and it will be all good. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, link will be in the description as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.